Greetings, viewers, Roman. Welcome on another exciting episode of the Petros Khoza Show. Petros Khoza. You know, I always bring people to inspire you. I always bring people to talk to you. I always bring people who have been through life and who are willing to, change someone's life out there through what they went through. Look, who do I have today? This beautiful woman. Woo-hoo. Listen, man, look at our noses. They look alike, There's that thing, Hey, SHAN LEE.
Thank you for having me here.
No, man, you look good.
Oh, thank you. It's such a pleasure to be here on your show today, and a huge welcome to all the viewers who've tuned in.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
this lady texted me on LinkedIn, so I was like, okay, let me try talk to her, and I then realized that she's that one big person that I needed to have here today so that she can speak with you, she can speak to us, so that she can touch the globe through this platform. Thank you for making time. I know you are busy. I know you are a teacher. Even now you're from work.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much for making time, and thanks to Mom and Dad for bringing you here.
I'm still new to Johannesburg.
Yeah.
Going out into the big world, so I still need that navigate.
For sure. SHAN LEE, let's talk about you. Who's SHAN?
So, okay, my public figure name is SHAN LEE.
Yes.
ID name is a different name.
Okay.
But since I've come to light, since I've pursued my goals,
yes,
and I decided to take on another name that was a more international, globally relatable name.
Okay.
And also why I chose SHAN LEE is it is a switch of my ID name, which is Lishanta.
Okay.
So I just switched the beginning around and made it SHAN LEE.
This lady, she's an artist, man. She's playing around with it. Anyway, you are a writer.
Yes, and it's easy to spell because, when I realized what my goals are, I also realized that, when you are seeking help from a certain individual, or when you're looking out there for someone, it needs to be a name that's also easy to spell, because sometimes you hear about these amazing people and then you can't spell their names in Google.
Oh, man.
So, yes, it's easy to spell SHAN, SHAN LEE, LEE.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So tell me about, this lady, SHAN.
Okay, well...
Where do you come from? How was life growing up?
It's been quite a journey. Just to tell you where I am right now.
Yeah.
I'm an author. I'm a former radio presenter on Radio Alanzar, as well as an international motivational speaker. And my day job, which I still keep, is a teacher because I love my little kids. And nothing can be more inspiring than those innocent little figures who you see every day, and you just want to nurture them, and just that is just the starting ground for me. When I see those kids every day, it just warms my heart, and it just ignites that feeling within me that I am going to carry on this drive to make a difference in South Africa, and that is why I've kept that day job, and I love doing it alongside everything else that I've been doing.
No, man, you're doing so well. I'm so impressed. We have a mother of a nation today. It's a full house. Listen, man, now we're unpacking what you came here for. So, SHAN LEE, you suffered with epilepsy.
Yes.
You suffered brain tumor. Take me to that experience.
Oh, gosh, it was quite a nightmare. I mean, sometimes people think that they're born on the right hand side and they're born on the left hand side, and that's it, and they carry on that path. But my life has really been a roller coaster, if I can say. It's gone uphill and downhill and uphill and downhill. It has really been that way. And I was born into an average income family. I went to a government school throughout my schooling career, and in that early years of life, I was obviously born in the pre-apartheid era as well. So I had that little taste of life. Yeah. I did, I was a top achiever. I was a top student in school, the head prefect, the dux of my school, the provincial winner of maths and physics. I mean, those are some of the hardest subjects. And, for me, society, family members would say to me, oh, one day you're going to be someone great. You're going to be a doctor. You're going to be a dentist. You're going to be an engineer. The careers that we have, society and the community listing as top jobs. I mean, that is something that they were instilling in me at that age when I was at my height of achieving. Unfortunately, when I was 12, I experienced my first epileptic seizure. Fortunately enough, it happened at home and not at school, but unfortunately there were repeated seizures at school. So, you know, at that 12, 13-year age, when you're just going into high school, you know, kids, teenagers especially, are very, very hostile, very, you know, they take a situation and unfortunately, it's entertaining for them in a negative manner, in that they don't realize how much of damage they're actually doing to the person who is experiencing these difficulties in life. So I had my first epileptic attack. I continued in school, and unfortunately it brought to me a great deal of humiliation and rejection, because thereafter I had not a single person in the school, in my class, wanting to sit alongside me, wanting to sit, talk to me, wanting to stand, you know, behind me or in front of me in the line to school, because, you know, unfortunately, you know, some cultures especially see epilepsy as a cursed sort of illness, and unfortunately for me that is very much what I experienced. So yeah, I had to deal with that. So that was where the first...
How did that affected you, you know, personally?
Personally, it was a feeling of rejection. A feeling of rejection from my school, a feeling of rejection from society, and, you know, even a feeling of rejection from my family, because although I had the support of my family, as a young child becoming a teenager, you also at some point in time, you don't take into account how that is affecting your parents and your grandparents. I mean, right now we're even experiencing different illnesses like COVID, but you would only take into consideration the person who's experiencing the illness. Not, sometimes we don't stop to consider, what about their brothers, their sisters, their parents? And for me, I saw a lot of tears from my family. And for me, that felt like, what, am I not good enough? Am I no longer wanted as the child of the family? Am I no longer part of the family? And terms that would come across from extended family members would say, oh, shame, she was going to be a doctor, but now she can't do it anymore. She's oh, shame, God just, you know, didn't want her to be anything. She's just going to have to stay at home.
So tell me, when all this was happening, you then encountered the brain tumor. How did from epilepsy to brain tumor, what was the transaction there?
Well, obviously, when you first get diagnosed with a neurological illness, you get sent for all these different tests. So during the MRI, it was during the same period of time that they discovered that I did have a brain tumor, as well as a pituitary microadenoma on my pituitary gland. And that is a type of a tumor that sort of grows and shrinks, and it was resting on my optic nerve, which means it was affecting my sight. So I couldn't understand why. Also, I couldn't see. My vision was becoming almost blind. I was almost becoming blind, but fortunately they were able to diagnose that in time to treat it. By the grace of God, I never stopped believing in God, and my family motivated me, and we never stopped doing our prayers and acknowledging the higher force of God. And you know, through prayer, by some miracle, the tumor actually disappeared.
Amen.
Yes.
We thank God.
So
I don't know what you're going through there at home, but listen, God did it for SHAN. If He did it for SHAN, He can do it for you. If He did it for SHAN, He can do it for you, irrespective of what you're going through.
Yes, I mean, I think that it's so important to just never stop believing in God.
Amen.
Despite the difficulty that you are experiencing.
Amen.
Because it's something that, yes, it didn't happen instantly.
Yeah.
But I just kept telling myself, I mean, there is a God out there, and He is watching over me, and He is going to let the right thing happen.
Amen.
And by prayer every single day, at some point in time, after about 2 years.
And let's talk about, with all these chronic illnesses and your education, how did it affect your education?
Well, obviously, you know, that period of high school was such an experimentation of drugs that I picked up 2 other very severe illnesses called Stephen Johnson's, the same illness, but it struck me twice. It's called Steven Johnson syndrome. And that's an illness that actually eats up the skin around your organs until slowly your organs start collapsing. And it didn't even hit me once, but it hit me twice. I mean, unfortunately, the first time they weren't able to diagnose it fast enough. I was on my deathbed. And again, by the grace of God, I pulled through.
Amen.
The second time, fortunately, they were able to diagnose it faster because of me already having experienced it. But I mean, you can imagine by grade 12, the grade 12 year, I spent that entire year in a hospital bed. And I was fighting for my life. And the future didn't look very bright, you can imagine. It was just basically a life or death situation. And you know, when I did manage to come out, it was time for the matric exams to be written. I asked special permission to write those exams, and I passed.
Wow.
Due to just my grade 11 results. I mean, not being able to pick up a single book. Because if you continue to study, I mean, I was someone who always studied. I was always, you know, not just studying for grade 11, I was studying for grade 12 as well. I was always wanting to gain more knowledge than was what the teacher said you need to know. Okay, you just need to know this. So by the grace of God, fortunately, I knew more than I needed to when I exited grade 11, and I was able to pass grade 12. But unfortunately, the results were not the results that were going to enable me to go into medicine, which was the initial career that I wanted to follow.
Listen, you know, when me hearing your story, you know, just reviving me, you know, just making me feel like, you know what, even that's one thing that I've forgotten about in my life, I'm going to remind God about it tonight. I'm going to pray about it. Listen, my dear sister and my dear brother, I know you are going through a lot, but listen, SHAN suffered epilepsy. SHAN suffered brain tumor. She didn't get proper results. But look, today she's an international motivational speaker. She's an author. We have her book here we'll tell you about. She's a teacher. And you know what? She's a community builder. She's doing so much. What is it that you can do? If God did it with her, listen, He can do it times 2 for you. So all this experience of life and all that you went through, what can you say to someone who's feeling like they want to give up in life right now?
I can say, you know what? Everything happens for a reason.
Amen.
If it had not been for me feeling that rejection at that point in time, feeling that sense of loss, I would not have been able to build my strength to where I am today.
Yes.
And to realize that, you know what, there are so many other people out there who have similar situations. And I became determined to then make a difference and go out there and help people in every way that I possibly could. And that's when I want to tell you very much more about the initiatives I have started.
Yes.
Because then life is not just about me. Life is not just about you.
Exactly.
Life is about an entire country, an entire continent, an entire universe that are all together, that should be working together for the same goals. And we can only do that by connecting with each other, by sharing our stories and communicating our stories, and realizing that, you know what, it's not just you in that position. There are so many other people in that position. Whatever threw you off track and threw you off that path, it might be financial issues, it might be academic results, it might be something that, you know, even an illness that is preventing you from being in that space where you thought you would be. But there is always another plan. There is always another road. There, you know, I always think about the navigate. When I was trying to find the studio, it gave me 3 different routes. So I mean, whichever route you go down, you are going to get to the end goal, to the location you should be. So God takes you down different paths, different routes. You see that in the navigate when you look at it nowadays. But I mean, that's the truth. No person, no 2 people are going to go down that same path in life.
SHAN, I must say you are highly favored by God, and you are truly blessed, and you are a blessing to your family. So tell me about you know, the movement you are busy with. I know you're running an association, right?
Yes.
Can you tell me briefly about it?
Well, you know, my journey very much stemmed from the writing of this book. And I'm just going to tell you a little bit about the book.
Awesome.
I wrote the book entitled Love Layer.
Yes, Love Layer.
Yes, and it was a book that I entered in an international competition not expecting much, but I'm a very goal-driven person.
Yeah.
So I went out there and I entered it in an international competition. And it came out, it won a top 3 award as Best New Author in December 2020. And for me, that was a huge achievement.
Man, that is an achievement.
And I mean, it was 8 years working on this book. And I have to tell you, even when working on this book, there would be people who are also in the industry of writing, also in the industry of publishing, who would ask me, oh, how's this book? And they would make a joke of it. It's like, oh, you're still writing, you're never going to get there. People, there is, I must say, in every career path, there is that jealousy, that negativity that you're always going to come across. But you need to learn that it doesn't matter what others think. It matters what is going on in your heart. It matters what you know is going on. I knew this book was going to become something great because as I was writing it, although it started, as I said, I was saying to Petros, it started off as just, a reflection of my life at first, expressing my rejection, expressing, feelings of hurt and pain, and how you come to find that happiness. And that's what I'd like to tell you a little bit more about, is how you find your happy space. I knew that this is also a book that I was writing that now was not just about me. I wanted it to be a book that was going to bring a huge amount of attention to South Africa.
Awesome.
And I realized that, what, that God didn't put me through all those difficulties for nothing. He didn't want me to be a doctor. He felt that intelligence could be taken and used in a different way. And that's when I realized, I did a lot of research in KZN. This book is set mainly in the KZN Midlands Meander. But it touches on all the major attributes of South Africa, from the gold mining industry to the paper forests in KZN, to our Drakensberg Mountains, to attributes that are not really highlighted by our foreign tourists. Even when we are trying to promote South Africa, we don't really highlight it too much in terms of its beauty and its attributes. But I mean, it's a story that takes you from the UK to South Africa and makes you realize that South Africa is a country which has so much to offer. It's a country with such a diverse group of people, because within the story there is a whole lot of diversity in terms of the characters, from black characters to white characters.
Exactly.
And I mean, it did, the story did start pre-apartheid. As I said, I was born in the pre-apartheid era as well. It does start there, and then it goes to post-apartheid era. But it also, I also wanted to show the world how South Africa is changing in terms of we are now bonding, growing, sharing, and we are becoming a more united, stronger country together.
Very true, very true.
So that was my aim. And then once I did this, that's when I realized that there are so many youth out there who want to become writers, who want to become poets, who want to learn more about art and culture. But unfortunately, there aren't many opportunities in South Africa for the youth in the arts and culture industry. I found that when this book was written, even though it won an award, there are many out there who are saying, oh no, but our readers still want to read the international books. But what's wrong with our local books? Why is our talent within our country still sometimes being undermined by the people who look at profit and loss in the bigger companies? That's when I said, what, my next goal is I'm going to make sure that I give every amount of exposure that I can give to the youth, I'm going to create more opportunities, more events for the youth to come forth and be able to share and grow together. So I created this foundation called When Ink Can Talk.
Okay. It's called When
Ink Can Talk.
When Ink Can Talk. Please do check it out, honey.
So When Ink Can Talk, and the extended name is Uniting Creative Minds Across South Africa. Because my idea behind it is, first, us as South Africans need to unite and show other South Africans what we have and show the world what we have to offer. So it's called When Ink Can Talk, Uniting Creative Minds Across South Africa. And you can find more details about it on my LinkedIn page, on my website, so I'll give you more information about it later. But it is an association that's on the Meetup app, if you can download the Meetup app on your phones.
Awesome. Listen, honey, I know that there's someone who's going through epilepsy right now. You know, they've been rejected, they feel hurt, they blame God, they blame themselves. Actually, they just want to be alone. What can you say to that person right now?
You know, there is that alone time that I think everybody needs. Even I myself spent a lot of time, you know, when I was first diagnosed, you know, just lying in bed, just thinking about it, you know, I was just walking down the road normally, you know, socializing with peers like every other person. And then suddenly you can't control your own body. I mean, epilepsy is a very unusual illness. It's a neurological illness, and you can't control what's happening. And the downfall, I must say, is that because it is a neurological illness, people think that their brains are, you know, that they're crazy. Many people associate it with being crazy or, you know, dysfunctional or being a cognitive delay, but it's not. It's not. It's just for that moment that your nervous system and your brain, just one is working faster than the other.
Okay.
And then everything will return to the way it is. But what I like to tell, you know, the person, if they are listening, and to any other person who is experiencing epilepsy, is you are always going to have reminders in life of who you really are and where you really are meant to be. You know, I think I've said to you already that there are things that everybody's exposed to, music, stories, movies, that are continuous reminders of who we are and who we can be. I mean, for me, it was recently during the COVID period when I was listening to the song by Demi Lovato, Let It Go.
Okay.
And you know, she says, oh, you know, frozen in isolation, because she's talking about the kingdom of isolation, because I'm not sure if you're very familiar of it. But then she's like, let it go, let it go. Don't hold it back anymore.
Yeah.
You know, just those feelings of frustration and anger, let it go. You need to think for a moment, pray to God, and just let it go. And you know, when she talks about, especially when you consider the movie Frozen, I would say, keep that fire burning, because there is that fire within your heart. And if you keep that fire burning, it's going to melt away that ice, and you are going to find yourself again. And I mean, you know, as I said to you earlier, we were chatting about one of my favorite animated movies, which is The Lion King. And I said, you know, sometimes we ourselves try to run away from situations, or we find a comfortable space, and a comfortable space may be our bed, because we can lie there and we feel comfortable, and we feel not threatened by society. We feel like the community's words, okay, they're not going to hurt us because we're in our room, we're in our bed, we're in our house, we're safe. The Lion King, I always you know, laugh about the situation. Simba ran off with Timon and Pumbaa.
Yeah, man.
And he was happy that he was this comfortable place.
And there were no problems.
Yeah, he was
Hakuna
no longer,
Matata.
He didn't need to hunt, he didn't need to do the things that lions do, and he was just comfortable. You know, he didn't want to think back to Pride Rock and think back to his dad or Nala or even his mom. So it was just that comfort zone. But there are going to be these reminders, whether it's a movie, whether it's a song, whether it's a neighbor, that are going to make you just remind you. There's something out there, and we need to be brave enough to go. I mean, you know, for Simba, he met Nala after how many years? And then he had a dream, an image of his father speaking to him in the spirit world. And it reignited in him that he's more than just who he was with Timon and Pumbaa. Even though it was a happy space, even though he was comfortable, even though it was routine, just go and hunt the slugs, you can be more. You can be who you need to be. So that's something that you know, when you see those reminders in your house, on TV, on the radio, just remind yourself that if you venture out the house, you're going to find yourself again.
Thank you so much. It's a powerhouse. Today I was a student listening to Mama Shen. From today I'm going to call you Mama Shen. Yeah, today I've learned that through music, through movies, through books, you can learn and reshape your life and go get your future. Listen, one thing I want to tell you and that I always say, go grab your future by the throat. It doesn't matter how you grab it, but grab it and bring it home. You are destined for greatness. God has a purpose with you. Listen, the navigator gives you 3 ways, but they all lead to your destination. You might be crawling, leaping to your destination. It's okay. The goal is to reach your destination. Shan, because of time, if someone want to engage with you personally, they want to talk to you, someone who's going through sickness, someone who want to read the book, someone who just want to say hi to you, listen, man, I'm going through this, what can I do? Where can they get hold of you?
Well, please have a look at my site. It's www.shanlee.site. SIT, it's a new type of website, but I wanted to make my name simple. And if you wanted to email me, it's just shanleeauthor@gmail.com. And in terms of Facebook and LinkedIn, if you search Shan Lee Author, you will be able to search me. And I think what will give you the best ways to find me is if you search the book Love Leah, all the ways of getting in touch with me will pop up. If you need my phone number as well, I'm welcome to share it. It's 076-412-5334. I have to quickly share with everybody that one of my first initiatives with the association When Ink Can Talk is I'm going to be publishing a book at the beginning of next year with a collection from all from youth from across the country. So I'd like you to please submit work to my email address and try and get in touch with me. Try and get in touch with our association, because it's not just about submitting the work. We're offering free editing, free guidance, free publishing advice, pre-writing advice, and it's also going into the field of art. So it's not just about writing, it's about art and culture. So are you choosing
genres or anything?
Anything. The collection is going to be a collection of poetry, short stories, novel extracts. It's all types of genres. It's just the way we are going to put it together that it's going to be a powerful book, and it's going to be something that I want to push to be a real reflection of South Africa's youth. And I'm also going to be participating in a year-end festival in the Drakensberg, and that's going to have a whole lot of youth as well who want to be aspiring artists in terms of song, painting, and writing, an opportunity to actually join us.
This woman, she's a powerhouse. I think we need a series to talk about this. Actually, we need the entire time that is left in the world to the two of us and talk and inspire you and share with you and encourage you. If you are not encouraged today, all we wanted to say with Shan is it is possible. You can do it, you can make it. Please do contact him. And listen, man, get yourself this book. I'm so fortunate. I have a signed copy. So please get the copy for yourself. I'll be sharing on my Instagram, on my Twitter, on my WhatsApp. I'll just, tell you what I've learned, here and there. I won't give you everything so that you can call her and get the book and read it for your loved ones. And do those bedtime stories, and share the book and let's learn, learning. We love you. May the good Lord bless you and keep you for us. And listen, I'll be praying for you tonight. But at the moment, before we close, I want Shan to pray for everyone who's going through epilepsy, everyone who's going through brain tumor. Can you please pray for them?
I'd just like to say, that God, whichever religion you pray to, is there. So, I pray to every religion actually, and I do go to all different facets of prayer. But I would just like to say to you, just remember that when you bow your head down, you can just envision any type of God and know that the fact that you can hear your heart beating, you can feel yourself breathing in, you are alive, and you are alive for a reason. Every single one of us is alive for a reason. So let us fulfill our destiny that God really wants us to fulfill.
We love you. May the good Lord bless you.